Hey there, folks out there in YouTube land and also in Podcastville. My name's Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech Podcast, the Painfully Honest Tech Podcast. So this is officially episode 1 after doing a bunch of episodes where I called it a podcast but never put it up as a podcast. This one is going to be on the podcast services, Stitcher, iTunes, all of those things where you get your podcast, Google Play Music, all that stuff. It's going to be on there. Happy to be a part of your day. Thank you so much for allowing me into your eyeballs and ear bones. It's going to be a good little podcast. What are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about on this podcast in general? Well, I like to sort of just do a little bit of a roundup of some news that has been interesting to me over the course of the last day or so, and then talk about it in a way that is kind of fun for me. So that's what I'm going to do. And all this is going to be focused around tech. So smartphones and audio and gaming stuff and all that kind of thing. It's all going to be tech related. So I hope that you are going to stick around and hang with me. As the show goes on, I will figure out things like how to get in touch with me. You can find me on YouTube by just going to youtube.com and searching for Painfully Honest Tech or youtube.com/Jason T. Lewis. You can also find me on Twitter at Jason T. Lewis. So those are places to contact me. You can do that right there. So I really look forward to hearing from all of you people. So let's just jump right into the discussion of the stuff. I've got pulled up here like 4 stories about Apple. So one story says, Apple just silenced iPhone 10 doomsayers. And it goes on to say how Apple's earnings that were just reported today of $61.1 billion, with the iPhone taking up 52 million iPhones alone to the tune of $38 billion. So this person writing over that, Caitlin McGarry at Tom's Guide, has said that this is Apple silencing the doomsayers. But then over here on CNBC, we have another article that quotes an analyst, Neil Campling, of Mirabeau Securities, and this is the second time I've read a report from him where he's used supplies at Apple's sources as an indication of whether or not the phone is selling as well as expected. He was looking at the chip manufacturers. He was looking at the screen manufacturers. Samsung has basically said, we're not going to sell as many screens this year because Apple. And the Taiwanese company that makes the chips, they say we got too many chips left. And then the place that makes the place that makes the Face ID stuff, they say they've got more than they need and they can't get rid of it. And now, I guess, Campling is reporting that Cognex is the latest company that Apple has disappointed. So Cognex is a company that sells technology that helps factories make the iPhone. And Campling told CNBC on Tuesday that Apple accounts for about 20% of their business, and their business is down. So that's one story, right? Then we got the Tom's Guide story that says Apple just silenced doomsday people, and why. And then over here at Cult of Mac, we've got why everyone was so wrong about the iPhone 10 sales. I can't keep up. We got another one here. Apple's $100 billion stock buyback overshadows iPhone. Now, this starts to get confusing to me that Apple's going to buy back a bunch of stocks. I can't make heads nor tails of that part of the story, but how am I supposed to make heads or tails of any of this? Because one story says Apple just barely made it over their projections, and they're doing great. And Tim Cook says the iPhone 10 is beloved, quote unquote. And everybody is just kind of going on and on and on and on and on. And they're saying opposite things. So which is it? Are the suppliers overstocked because Apple's not ordering enough of the parts for the iPhone 10, or is Apple just going gangbusters and just killing it like everybody, these other people seem to say? I can't keep up. All I know is that the iPhone 10 seems to be on the way out. And everybody gives a lot of different justifications for why that might be. The suppliers have supply and Apple is not buying them. Then there must be something going on. But again, statistics are one of those things that you can do anything with statistics and make it say whatever you want it to say. You can twist it into a pretzel and call it macaroni if you want. But something here, I mean, it's probably going to be a while before we really know if the iPhone 10 was the kind of success that Apple and others want us to believe, or if analysts like Ming-Chi Kuo and Neil Campling were onto it before it was really known by everyone. I just report this news. Doesn't have to make any sense, I guess. So that's Apple for you. In a nutshell, it doesn't have to make any sense. It doesn't yeah, it's just bizarre. So other big news today, we've got Facebook. USA Today, I just scanned through this article to see what was going on with Facebook, because quite honestly, like with the Senate hearings and all this other stuff, like it's really hard to keep up with what's going on with Facebook. Privacy is a thing that Facebook seems to be having trouble with. So what are we going to do about that? Well, I guess they've announced a couple of things at their Facebook F8 conference. I would read F8 and think fate, but maybe they didn't want to be that on the nose in this case. But yeah, F8. And so Zuckerberg's up there and he's talking. He's looking somewhat like a human being. And one thing that they announced is a privacy tool that's going to help, that's going to clear people's history out. They're going to have the option to clear all their history and, you know, more control to the user. Users unite. That's what we're talking about. So it's going to be similar to deleting cookies and browser history and that kind of thing. So you can't be tracked, I guess. And Zuckerberg says, this is the kind of control that we think people should have. We just never gave it to them before. But now that we're in trouble with the United States government and with the British government is calling for him to appear at their hearings, now they think that this is the kind of control they think people should have. Well, I guess better late than never. Thank you, Zuckmeister. Going on down here, what else are they getting into? Facebook is creating a dating service. Oh my goodness. There is nothing less I would want to do than to try and date someone and meet them on Facebook. I mean, Facebook is a cancerous boil of evil. And you go on there to see pictures of your friends and their kids, or, you know, your friends being drunk or your friends being old, depending on what you want to do. You can get into some really pointless circumnavigation of political discussions that aren't even worth the time, because who the hell knows anything about politics anymore. And now it's going to be Facebook dating. Stocks of Tinder and, you know, like Match, the whole Match overarching Match company, their stocks dropped like 22% immediately upon Facebook announcing this. We didn't hear anything from, I at least didn't hear anything from eHarmony. So who knows what eHarmony is doing in the wake of this Facebook announcement. Facebook is going to try and roll out this new feature to the mobile app where it's going to help single users find their soulmates. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think that people are going to like use it as a way to stalk people or have some sort of drunk booty call or something like that. But I don't see how a mobile app that's connected to Facebook and is all about dating, I can't see how that's going to make any sense whatsoever. And here we are. We're talking about, in one breath, we're talking about Facebook and privacy and how it's not been a thing. And now we're talking about Facebook and dating app and the fact that now we want to get even more personal with Facebook. I don't think this is a good idea. They're gonna have some video chat everywhere now, I guess. So you can do video chat on Instagram or WhatsApp or any of those things. It looks like they're trying to develop that. And then finally, they released the new Oculus Go, which is a freestanding, well, not wireless, on your face, $200 VR rig that I don't really know too much about. This is not what I expected to see from Oculus. Next, I expected to see a new Oculus Rift, but we've got Oculus Go. And let's see here. What do they say? Yeah, it doesn't require a connection to the phone or computers. It has computing power inside. Also, most affordable VR device. Graphics are pretty impressive. So there's no real stats here. So the Oculus Go is a thing. You can put it on your face and have some VR on the go. I'm still not sold on VR. I had the Oculus Rift. I had the PlayStation VR, and both of them were pretty good. There's just something about having your face stuck in a thing and basically losing your sense of sight for everything that surrounds your physical body. It's very cool, but I don't see myself, I never found myself wanting to jump around and do things in games and all that kind of stuff. I was more of like, I wanted to sit down and play a game. And there's just something about VR that hasn't quite sorted itself out yet. I think that AR is very interesting. So you're interacting with something, with an intermediary of a phone or something like that. AR and VR together might be a thing, but it's going to have to be some sort of mixed thing. People, I don't know. I watched Ready Player One. I read the book and I was like, that sounds awesome. I want that. But that doesn't exist yet. When that exists, then VR might have its day. But right now, it's just a curiosity for many, many people. There are some diehards out there who are deep in the VR, but it's not the majority of people. Maybe this Oculus Go is going to be the thing that gets people to buy. $200 is always kind of the sweet spot where people are willing to spend that kind of money on something, and it's not a major purchase. In the tech world, for me, always $200 or so is that place where people are like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll give it a try. If it doesn't deliver something useful, something meaningful for that money, though, I think Oculus and Facebook are going to be set back even further yet again. Meanwhile, HTC Vive just released their HTC Vive Pro, and it doesn't really measure up from what I've heard. It's better than the HTC Vive, but it's not everything that it needs to be. And some people are saying it's actually more for professional application. It's $1,000. So that's too expensive. I think Apple taught us that, didn't they? Let's move on to some leaks. Leaks. Ooh, we got leaks. Galaxy Note 9 leaks. That is exciting. They have a picture here. It's much more boxy looking. You got the fingerprint on the underside of the underneath the screen, actually. So you can. They're going to have that. It says here that they're going to have improved battery and camera. So big battery and camera improvements are coming. So I hope that means it's a big battery. 4,500 milliamp hours is what I want in the Note phone. I've said it before. I'll keep saying it until, I don't know. I just keep saying it. I don't know if it'll ever happen. But, this is a pretty hefty looking block of Samsung device. Who's to know that this is really an accurate rendering of what it's going to look like? But it is very squared off like the Note 8 was this past year. And it could be very sexy. It could be very sexy. There's also talk that they may release the phone earlier. The reasoning behind that being that Apple is going to supersize the iPhone X design this year with a 6.5-inch display phone. That's something that we've heard enough now that maybe we can believe that it's somewhat accurate. Who knows until they announce it and we see it. But Samsung wants to get the Note out before that phone is announced and not create some sort of vacuum where nobody's buying Samsung, waiting for Apple, whatever, blah, blah, blah. The Note 9 may come out earlier, which I would have to assume would mean something like, I see here it says July is the preferred Note 9 release date. So that is a little bit earlier than before. So we've got that to look forward to. I am actually looking forward to the Note 9. The more time goes on, the more I feel like I'm not willing to go back and talk about the Samsung experience and all that. I want just something clean and easy to use that has the enhancements that the Note brings to the table without all the Samsung BS all over the top of it. I'm just kind of done with that. But we'll just have to see how it goes. There's talk that Samsung's going to move to their own operating system entirely, Tizen. Which I don't know if that's going to happen. But there's talk that it may. So Note 9, maybe in July, to ward off the big-ass iPhone X Plus that's coming down the road sometime soon. So speaking of smartphones, something that's very timely right now, I looked at Best Buy's website today and saw that they are selling the Pixel 2 and 2 XL for like ridiculously cheap contract, like payment deals. I think it was like $15 and $13 for each. And this article here says that basically it's some money back from Verizon. It's some money back from Best Buy. And it says Best Buy is currently selling a Google Pixel 2 with a $500 discount. Okay. That's not a typo. You get a Pixel 2 and pay as little as $350. And it says, "That's nuts!" exclamation point. And I agree. This is from Droid Life. And I've been waiting for a good Pixel deal. Unfortunately, I have been wanting to get a Pixel 2 XL again. And I ended up getting one. Verizon also has a deal on this where instead of $35 a month, you spend $22 a month. So I think it's this deal minus the Best Buy sweetener. So if you're in the market for a Pixel 2 or Pixel 2 XL, this might be one of those times to go check it out. It's getting late in the cycle for this phone, but still a really good phone. Still has arguably the best camera of any phone out there. And so if Pixel 2 or 2 XL is your bag, then maybe you need to hop on over to the Best Buy or the Verizon store and check it out because it's a good deal. And it just started today. I mean, I literally looked at the Verizon website this morning. It said $35. Then I looked at it later on in the morning and it said $22. Same thing with Best Buy. So go ahead and check it out. Now let's get on to some audio stuff. If you're old like me, then you remember the Koss Porta-Pros, which are still something that are highly regarded wired headphones even today. They look old and weird, but now they're coming out with a wireless version. It's going to have aptX and a 12-hour battery life. So aptX, if you're not familiar with what aptX is, it's a codec for Bluetooth reproduction, sound reproduction that is of a higher quality than what the codecs were in the past. It's one of the best sounding codecs for Bluetooth audio. So it looks like this thing's going to be packed and it's only going to cost $80, which if it is in fact a really good sounding wireless headphone for $80, that's going to be really pretty awesome. Let's see. It says it's available on Amazon or on Massdrop. Let's click this Amazon link and see what it shows us. Let's see. There they are. Yeah. So you can just get them. I'm going to get a pair. If anybody wants me to do a review for the YouTube channel, let me know. Just put it in the comments somewhere and I will know them. If you're listening on the audio ear thing, podcasty, whatever, then, drop me a note on Twitter or on YouTube and let me know that you would like to see a review of the Koss PortaPro wireless Bluetooth on-ear headphones, 12-hour plus battery life, integrated microphone, and remote. I'm kind of excited about this. I haven't gotten excited about any Bluetooth headphones for a while. So that is pretty awesome. Now, that's all I have planned for today, to just sort of go through these stories and talk about what is going on in the world of tech. Today, we've got some Samsung. We got the big players. We got Samsung, we got Apple, we got Facebook, and we've got an interesting Bluetooth headset that's coming our way, so we can check that out. I'd like to thank everybody for stopping by and checking this out, because this is my maiden voyage of really trying to do this podcast as a solo thing where I make it more concentrated. The podcasts that I tried to do in the past were they were live on YouTube and turned into like sometimes 3 and 4 hour long discussions, which is not a podcast. So I wanted to try and do something a little bit more collected, a little bit more focused, and I'm hoping that this is that. This is what I call the Painfully Honest Tech podcast. Thank you so much if you're watching on YouTube. Very much appreciated. If you found me on one of those podcast delivery services, then thank you very much as well. I'm glad that you have found me, and let me know what you think about this. If you go over to iTunes and give me ratings and give me some constructive criticism in the comments, I will do my best to continue to make this better, I guess. Thank you again so much for being here. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is the Painfully Honest Tech podcast. I'll be back again next week to do it again. Until the next time, I'm out.